Doc. Second game in a row to kind of fall behind, and I know there was another kind of furious rally, but I know you don't want to be in that position, down 22 with halfway through the fourth. So I guess just what?
Yeah, two completely different games to me. I mean, the first game the other night, Giannis was barely moving, getting back. Tonight, I just thought their defensive intensity, their ball pressure. We literally didn't run much offense tonight. We went a lot of ISOs, a lot of ball didn't move the way we typically move it. And then in the fourth quarter, we finally started doing that, So all we talked about in shoot around this morning, you got to get to the paint. You got to swing the ball from side to side. If you try to keep beating them off the dribble all game, they're just going to converge. And if you don't move the ball, you're not going to win. I just didn't think we played the right way tonight. And then the last group came in and did that, and you saw the difference.
I know we've talked about Brooklyn in general, but I guess why do you think that has occurred, I guess, of late, maybe since Vegas, where you've said this a few times, didn't play the right way, or maybe the ball stuck and
Yeah, well, honestly, I thought we have played the right way overall. Since Vegas, we've been shorthanded. Tonight, there's not a lot of nights like this where we play offense like the way we played tonight. And I thought defensively they were comfortable the whole game as well. They beat us off the dribble. So, yeah.
I would say it's probably the third time it's happened against the Nets. Like their ball pressure.
Fourth time.
Yes.
Really. I mean, all four games have basically been the same game. We came back and won. They beat us the first game. And then the game here without Giannis and Dame, that was the only game that we actually had a big lead and gave it up in the fourth. So, but in that game, the ball was moving, and that's what you have to do against a young, athletic, physical basketball team. If the ball sticks on one side, you're not going to win the game. You're just not. And so we didn't deserve to win it.
My guess is you won't see the Nets in the playoffs. This won't be a team that you're going to have to go against. But teams will try to do those same things. What is it?
Yeah, teams can try to do it, honestly. And a lot of teams, Oklahoma tried to do it, and they couldn't do it. So I think it's a lot how we approach the game. For whatever reason, we haven't approached the game right against them. Atlanta tried to do it, and they couldn't do it. Right. So we'll be fine. We'll be ready for all that. It's just you got to show up and be ready to play as a group, and I didn't think we were tonight. So it has nothing to give them credit because you know how they're going to show up, and you knew they were going to. They just beat us, so they got great confidence. That's the way this league works.
The turnovers tonight, a bunch of them were live ball. 14 turnovers turned into 27 points for them. Just how big did you feel like that was as a factor?
I just thought it was everything, honestly. Listen, if you're going to try to drive from half court, which our guards did, our bigs did, you learn that in high school. Like, by the time you get to the basket, the whole team will be there. We never got the ball in our spots. We didn't have proper spacing. We didn't share the ball.
Taking the final result out of it, what can you take away from that fourth quarter push and apply to future scenarios?
Oh, boy, that's a hell of a question. You're never out of a game. And think about it. I think we had Dame got a wide open three. Giannis had a dunk and a layup. Most of the time, you're going to make two of the three, and you probably win the game. I wouldn't have felt any different if we had won the game. I'm being honest. Like, I thought we were going to win the game once we got it down. I wanted to win it, but I wouldn't have felt any better about it. Only that you get to go home and watch a win where you didn't play well.
How much of a factor was the crowd in that comeback? The
crowd was great. We have a great crowd. I mean, they had every reason not to be here, and they hung in there, and it was great for us. I think our crowd is phenomenal.
Doc, what do you tell your team after that kind of an effort to come back?
You say very little because you don't want to talk right after. It's too emotional. So tomorrow we'll watch film, and then I'll have a talk.
Yeah.
But after a game, you leave those alone. You know what? Most of the time they know, and they absolutely knew how we performed tonight. They didn't need the coach to tell them.
Sure. And how did it compare to anything you were telling them in timeouts or just like as it went through that comeback?
We just didn't execute, guys. I'm telling you, this game was one of those games. I'm going to say 7 times out of timeouts, we didn't execute the play. You know, it's funny. There was so much hope. The first play of the game we drew up was a beautiful play. Goddamn, a wide open 3. Didn't make it, but I'm thinking this is going to be a high execution night. That was the last time until the 3 that we drew up and then the layup that we drew up for Giannis. So
Last thing, what about with Andre Jackson Jr.? Have you had a conversation with him yet? Did you talk to him at half?
Yeah, I talked to him at half, but only a short time. Again, you learn as a coach, emotional, you leave it alone until the next day. Probably the same way when you have an argument at home. Go to sleep, wake up in the next day, and you probably won't say the same things. I've learned that as a coach.
Hey, Doc. Pat Connaughton, Marjan Beauchamp. Why them? What did they give you?
Just we needed live legs and just someone else because no one had played well. You know, it's funny, and I was hoping to tell this story after a win, but yesterday evening, I don't know, 4 o'clock, I'm the only one in the facility watching film. Not because I'm working that hard. I go there because I knew it would be no one there. The only one who was there was Pat Connaughton running laps. And I actually had our video people tape it to show our players. I haven't showed them that yet, you know. But I'm sitting there thinking, here's Pat Connaughton. How many years has he played? I don't even know. His 10th year in the league. He's lost his minutes. He hasn't played in 7 games, not 1 minute. And he's the only one in the gym running, just sprinting, just going back and forth, back and forth. I bet he did it 50 times, all by himself, just sprinting. Then he got shots up, and then he left. There were other guys that came in earlier to get shots up. So, you know, when you're struggling and you need someone that you know that's bought in, my first impulse was Pat Connaughton, and he did. He played great, and I was very happy. And I was really happy for Marjan because he's played very little, not since the Miami game, were meaningful minutes where he played well there. So good for him. I thought defensively, and this is something we've really been on him about, like if he can do that every night, he can earn minutes. I thought he was phenomenal defensively tonight.
So often over the years, Giannis has kind of talked about building winning habits, and that's how you build a great team.
Yeah.
These last week and a half, I know you're shorthanded at times.
Yeah, since I keep saying the bubble. I don't know why I call Vegas the bubble, but since Vegas, you know, now we've had guys out, but now the guys are back. We're still not to the level going into Vegas. We were playing better than everybody in the NBA. We would take anybody. We go into Vegas, we win the thing. We have not returned back to that, and we have to get back to that. We have to get back to doing the little things. We will. Thanks, guys.